Why is my camera so dark?
Because you black, bro. Don't worry, I'll fix it in editing.
You're gonna have to fix it, man. It's like I can barely see myself. I'm saying Bilal all illuminated and stuff. I'm looking like, yeah, man. You put all the lights on him.
I got 2 sources of light right here. Of course I'm gonna illuminate, right?
Actually, the smoothest line I've ever heard Bilal say in my entire life. My man is slowly learning. Every decade he picks up a compliment.
It's like the moon with 2 suns, right? I mean, come on, bro. It's like Tatooine, bro. I'm Tatooine right here.
And I don't know what that means.
You know what I'm saying, right? It's kind of on there, right?
He got too excited. Tatooine.
It's that classic Star Wars image with Luke Skywalker watching one sun rise and the other sun set.
Sorry, man.
Right, and Tatooine it's a 2 solar. Oh man, forget it. Yo, leave a comment below. Shout out to any Star Wars.
All the Star Wars people. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Welcome.
And we have a special guest here today.
Farhan Abdul Azeez.
Good doctor is in town.
Yes, the good doctor. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. My name is Bilal Khan. I'm one of the hosts.
Ammar Shukri. I'm the other host. Okay, yeah.
I was going to say 2 of our instructors here. Ammar, 1 instructor. Farhan Abdul Azeez, 2nd instructor. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the notification squad. Because if you haven't already, then you won't know when we got some stuff coming out. But if you are part of the notification squad, check in below in the comments section. Let us know you're tuning in. And let's get started.
So me and the good doctor go way back like A-Track.
A-Track.
I don't know if you... I actually don't remember.
You might have to explain what A-Track is.
A-Track is just... it was before the cassette tape. And the cassette tape was before the CD player. And the CD player was before the MP3. So we go way back. So I remember first meeting Bilal. Han, do you remember when we met? Because I don't.
That's how far back they go.
I know we kicked it off. I don't remember.
Yeah. I heard you in a Maghrib Institute fundraiser.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
We did a fundraiser. I don't remember what it was for.
Gaza.
It was for Gaza. This is like 2008, maybe?
Yeah, I think 7 or 8. I think 7.
2007.
First,
it was our first like online big fundraiser.
Yes.
And it was with Islamic Relief. And they were like, yes, we've got a fundraiser who's going to jump in and fundraise. And people are telling me he's an Al-Maghrib student as well from Michigan, Farhan Abdul Azeez. And he goes on, and it was just like audio during that time. And he goes on and I don't know, mashallah, tabarakallah, he just went off.
Do you remember what he talked about?
No.
Do you remember how he made you feel?
Yes.
Okay.
He like brought the seerah to life. Like, it was like, is this a student or is this like, who is this guy? I remember, mashallah. And I remember Sheikh Hamid al-Shiri coming on afterwards, and he's like, Farhan Abdul Azeez, I heard him, and I thought that was me speaking. I'm like, so is that praise or like a humble brag or like, how does that work? You do remember that, right? Yeah, mashallah.
Oh, boy.
And then at some point after that, I met you. I don't remember when though. Alhamdulillah. So what made you, or growing up in Michigan is like a really active, that's like super active community. Was it always really active?
Michigan, yeah, it's been, the Muslim communities has been there for a long time. From the early 1900s when Henry Ford brought all these Yemenis, hired them.
Oh, for real?
South Dearborn.
All these American cars were made by Yemenis?
Yeah, on the assembly line, they were the ones working.
Made in Yemen, bro.
So the Muslim community's been there for a long time. Alhamdulillah, established community. I went to Islamic school.
Now, I'm more curious about what inspired Henry Ford to bring in a bunch of Yemenis.
I don't know the answer.
I want to know what that story is. That's like a Ford versus Ferrari story.
You'd have to check
prequel.
they have a museum there, the Arab Museum of America or something in Detroit.
Something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would probably answer your question.
I mean, I just know about Detroit is that like Best Buy will create advertising campaigns specific to the Arab community.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like that's how.
Dearborn is known, the biggest Arab population outside of
The Middle East?
in the U.S. We beat Patterson, New Jersey.
Well, Clifton is if you take Patterson, Clifton, that entire diaspora, it might inch ahead. It might inch ahead. But all I know is this: you're not gonna find Yemeni pancakes in Patterson, right? I don't know what to call it. Right?
No, there's no Yemeni presence in Patterson.
No,
Patterson is all
yeah.
Palestinian. It's all Shami.
We recently got a lot of Yemeni restaurants opening up.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Do you know what they're called? I'm calling them Yemeni pancakes. There's this fried bread that they have for breakfast.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been there already.
Yo, Any Yemenis that are watching this, please let us know in the comments below.
What it's called.
Yeah, what are your Yemeni pancakes called?
I mean, Yemeni food, to be honest, is my favorite food. Out of the Arab food,
Very good.
like Yemeni food for me is amazing. But growing up in Michigan, you eventually, I mean, your story is like you became medical school. You did medical school in Michigan itself.
Yep.
And then you took a
Why
year
medical
off.
school? Because you're Desi?
Yeah.
Did you have a choice?
No.
You didn't have a choice. Okay.
So I did. No, he did have a choice. I mean,
Okay.
I met one brother once who's a medical doctor. He was also Desi.
Yeah.
And he had 3 other brothers, and they were all doctors. And so I asked him, and I said, did you not have a choice? And he said, no. He said, alhamdulillah, I did. My father told me, he said, you can be anything you want to be. You can be an optometrist, you can be a dermatologist, you can be an ER doctor, or you can be whatever you want.
As long as they got DR, MD, so something preceding and
Exactly. You can be whatever you want.
following the name.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Medicine was something my mom wanted for me very much.
If they did not insist upon you to be this profession, where do you think you would have ended?
My passion was Islamic studies.
Okay.
It was, yeah. I wanted to go overseas and
From the get-go?
yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
What
wanted to go
what
overseas
struck
and
that?
study.
Oh, he's laughing at me.
I love how Bilal like works with Al Maghrib all the time, and he's shocked. They're like, people want to learn Islam. He's like, what's going on? Oh yeah. Why would anybody want to study Islam? That's crazy. So go ahead.
You know, we had to sit down with our local imam and talk to him and try and get an idea what should we do. And he recommended I do
Was
medicine.
this Sheikh Ali?
It was
The legend?
the legend.
MashaAllah, man. Man, preserve Anton, Michigan. Allah.
Sheikh Ali Sulaiman. Yeah. He recommended to finish medicine first. That way you're financially independent.
Was he a doctor too?
He's a PhD Islamic studies from the University of Michigan, I think. Yeah, he's
Okay.
he's a heavy
He's graduate Medina. But yeah, he came back and then he did his PhD at UVM.
Okay. Now I'm just curious.
West African too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Senegalese?
Ghana.
Ghana. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious as to like at what age you're like, yo, I want to do Islamic studies.
High school is when I took more of a passion to it.
Okay.
Was
Was it like post 9/11 kind of thing?
9/11? I was in 9th grade. I was in 10th grade.
Okay.
So
So you're class of 03?
class of 03. I don't know if it was 9/11, but I think it was before that. My 9th grade years, I think probably when I started getting more serious.
Okay. What was the influence? I'm curious. Is it like,
My influence was my Arabic teacher.
okay.
She was
Now I'm curious as to what pushed you towards Arabic at like in high school.
so I was at Islamic study. I was at Islamic school my
Oh.
whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So kindergarten all the way through 10th grade full time, 11th and 12th grade. I went to
So you were
college,
indoctrinated from the get-go.
and then I still took Arabic and Islamic studies.
Yeah.
But she became my teacher in 8th grade,
Okay.
and then she kind of inspired a love for the language, and that
Sure.
kind of took off from there.
Okay. That.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we know the origin story.
It's amazing, man. Like you never know. Like as far as teachers, like they're just planting seeds, and they never know which
Which
seed
one's gonna
is
sprout.
actually like at what point.
Yeah.
I remember with my Sunday school teacher, probably 2 years. I didn't go to Sunday school till like I was 15, and then 2 years, maybe a year of him every week just talking to like 10, 15-year-olds who did not care. They were just waiting for their honey buns. Like,
Sure.
did you guys remember the honey buns? They used to
get
get that on Sunday school.
bagels and cream cheese. That they bring in that like baker's dozen in the morning
MashaAllah.
and just pass that out.
No, for us it was just distribution of honey buns and maybe some. I don't know because I used to just
Those
go for the
hostess
honey
things?
buns. Yeah, the hostess
Yeah.
things. And then just one day he mentioned a topic that just like kindled my interest.
Okay.
And it started going from there. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
They
okay,
had to drive me to the masjid. I had to.
they still drag you to the masjid.
This is when I first came to Houston, this guy was literally down the street. He's like, you got no excuse. Next thing I know, I'm renting a spot from the masjid.
Yep. My rule is you got to live 5 minutes or less. Otherwise, it just gets too difficult. It gets tough. Arabic teacher inspires you. High school, very excited. You become very involved in Michigan State, the MSA there.
I went to Michigan State for undergrad and then medical school. I got into a combined program, like an undergrad medical school combined.
Nice.
So you get to save some time.
Yeah. So what their program was you could do undergrad as long as you want,
Yeah.
and whatever degree you want,
Uh-huh.
as long as you maintain certain requirements, GPA.
Did you have to take the MCATs?
No, so that's one of the benefits. You don't have to take the MCAT. Okay. And as long as you maintain the requirements, you get your seat in the medical school.
Right.
So
You know, one thing I look back at, there are like so many different opportunities to do that in different fields. And it's just like
Like what fields?
for example, law. There's like Seton Hall law, whatever. Like if you got like a 3.0 GPA or 3.5 GPA or higher, you got into Seton Hall law.
But that's on the prerequisite of you actually knowing what you're gonna do.
Right. And it's just like
A
one of
lot of people don't know what they're doing.
and I wish they would gear middle school and high school, at least the first couple of years, to, hey, like, let's expose you to all of these different careers and how people do and how they live.
Because done overseas.
What?
Like how it's done overseas.
Overseas,
Is that
at least I was told recently this is the British system. I'm not sure. To our Brits, let us know if this is actually your system or not. I know it's the Arab system, which is you end up picking one of two tracks.
okay?
It's like a science and math-based track,
Right.
which would
yeah.
or you would pick like a humanities track,
right.
right? Depending on. So someone like me, I'm definitely a humanities inclined individual, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to science and
I'm Mars motto. Art makes culture felt. Boom. Humanity straight up.
humanities all day. Like I had no reason to be doing any math past algebra. Like everything that I've done since then was a complete waste of time. Never needed it, never used it,
You just didn't enjoy numbers at all.
not at all. I mean, they stopped being numbers. That was the problem.
They're always numbers.
No,
Well, there could be letters involved. Run to being
The letters are made into letters. They're actually numbers. It's just a question of what number do you want to assign it.
Anyway, so keep in mind, like Bilal probably hates math as much as I do.
Like I ended up we were in AP stats in high school,
MashaAllah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that was my thing. Only thing was that
So I had no business taking statistics. There was no reason for
what
me.
I don't understand is why you didn't take AP stats, because you went to business school.
I took statistics in business in university.
But as part of prep for that, no?
No, I didn't prep. Anyway, to get back to
So yeah, I got to that program. That's how I went to Michigan State. Because mainly from our community, southeastern Michigan, you go to U of M. You know, you got to U of Michigan or
why is that?
Dearborn, just because this was the thing. It's like because the states were stronger there. Like Lansing is like an hour away, so you got to live on campus versus live at home.
Okay.
So
it's like Rice versus you.
I'd live on campus, yeah.
You lived on campus for how many years was it?
So I did undergrad in 3 years because I had a year come in from high school.
Nice. So you're on that Bilal track of APs and stuff like that.
Community college. So I went to community college and you got credits.
I didn't get any credits for my AP classes because my thinking was this: I'll take the AP classes, I'll do well, I'll go to college, take them again, I'll do even better.
Does that work?
Yeah. But then I spent college after the first couple of years, I flunked out because I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. Yeah. And then but then we got back in 1 or 2 classes a semester, 7.5 years, done.
Alhamdulillah.
I think I took longer than most med students.
Yeah, I mean, we could call you Dr. Bilal too. As you have, so people take too long to start calling them Dictor.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't handle more than 1 or 2 classes.
I hear you, man.
And here, like, I'm guessing you're the type of person that would take like 22 credits a semester.
I didn't have to in undergrad, alhamdulillah.
Okay.
I had 40 come in, so I had to finish 18 in 3 years. So it wasn't like
you got a head start.
intense, yeah.
And then?
So yeah, undergrad, 3 years. I did a degree in human biology. Took a year off, and then went back.
So the year off was when you came down to Dallas.
This is a year off before that year off.
Okay, much.
So I took 2 years. I took 2 years off. Yes, sir.
So hold on a second. You did a degree in human biology. Usually when I hear about med students, they usually do a degree in just biology.
Yeah, they just call it human biology at Michigan State. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
It's essentially biology.
Like I was just wondering if you like chose like I want to do human biology, not like animal biology.
I actually started off as journalism,
or alien biology.
inspired by post 9/11. We was some journalists, and when you you want,
Sure.
as long as you get your prereqs in for your pre med.
Okay.
But then what happened was,
You're like I hate writing.
so I did the initial class,
Yeah.
which is like a screener class.
Yeah. Like an intro.
Yeah, I got through that. But then the next class I needed to take in the degree path,
Mhm.
wasn't available. I had to wait until the next year started, which would delay my undergrad graduation for another year. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be a journalist anyways. I don't want to delay another year. So I went the track that way.
That's how they weed out the people who aren't serious about the field.
Yeah, they weeded me out. So I did bio, took a year off, and then started medical school in 2007.
Okay. So you just want to get straight to med school.
Yeah. So that was the year when I was really, really, really debating about going overseas. I had got a taste, alhamdulillah, going overseas after my first year undergrad. I went to Egypt.
When you say you've got
in the summer there.
okay, what's a taste?
We spent 2.5 months.
Okay, we're doing what?
in Egypt. Doing
Touring, seeing the pyramids, riding camels.
we did one day of vacation, but it was intense. We went and we were serious.
Everything.
I went with two of my friends. We did Arabic, and then towards the end of my
So you attended one of those Arabic language institutes and just studied.
so 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. Yeah, and then add tajweed to it.
Bilal is shocked that someone would travel overseas to study Islam also. That's crazy. Can you believe that? Yeah. Like, not only did they study it locally in Michigan, they actually traveled to go study it somewhere else.
Yeah. It's like you don't got normal bathrooms, you got no food, you got no Wi-Fi.
Lived off the city.
Okay. Yeah. That could yeah.
That was one reason why my mom and my dad both didn't want me to take the year off. But mainly my mom, she was really nervous about it, was because she thought I wouldn't go back. Like, once I'm off, like, I'm not going back to medical school.
Oh, they were afraid that you'd be like, yo, I'm out.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
So that's what we had.
It's like, I got my med school degree and I'm gone.
So you went for summer, came back.
Finished up my 2 years.
These Arabic programs, you actually come back fluent, right?
And it depends your background going in. So for me, once I got that teacher that kind of inspired me in 8th grade, what I would do in Islamic school, up until that point, all you learned, unfortunately, was reading and writing. Okay. You don't learn vocab, you don't learn grammar, nothing.
This is what? In the
learn to
overseas program?
In Islamic school from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade.
Okay, so it's your basic homeschooling type of setup.
Yeah, not much. You're not getting much.
Right.
But then once he kind of inspired me to love the language, what I would do is I would go home, and then I remember I would have my Arabic book, my notebook, Arabic English dictionary, and the house phone.
You're such a nerd.
Right next to me.
And the house phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could call her.
So I could so I would do as much as I can. I would just go through the book, go ahead of the class, do everything I can. I would get stuck. I'd look at the dictionary if I couldn't figure it out. To to call any of my friends who were of Arab background to get their help. And so I would put hours in on Arabic. So then what I would do is I would just finish books and give her the notebook and get the next one. So I went ahead of the class and kind of had my own track with her, separate from the class. So when I went to Egypt, I actually placed with her son.
This is
we went
what
together.
age?
This was high school, whatever.
Okay, so I take it you did not get to enjoy the glory of Gran Turismo and Tekken and all these others.
So we had Super Nintendo. We never went past that.
Oh man!
Once it got stolen, somebody broke into our house, robbed our house. Once it got stolen, we never got it back.
Well, that's something that's like early '90s.
So I wonder when it got stolen. I wonder if it got stolen by one of your parents. Like my mother does that whole get lost thing. I had a black thobe she didn't like. It was gone. I don't know what happened to it.
The laundromat took it.
Yeah. Summer Egypt, come back, do a year of medical school, and then decide.
So summer Egypt, that was still undergrad. 2 more years undergrad left.
No, before you go to undergrad, what would you say was your most treasured memory from going to Egypt? Like, you spent an entire summer there, but what was one thing that you're like, you know what? I love this.
It's a great question.
I'm gonna have to see the kittens. What? On the street?
Oh, like the stray cats?
Legend.
Stray cats. So I would be like walking home with my two roommates, and like I would just see kittens on the side, and I would just get distracted and go start playing with them. And then we walk off. They knew I'd be with the cats, so they just leave me. And then I remember one time I was talking, so these Egyptian kids come up to me and they start talking to me, and of course a full slang, and I'm studying Fusha. So he says the word. The first time I ever heard the word "dilwati," which means now.
Yeah.
And it took us like half an hour for him to try to explain dilwati to me for me to understand it means now.
Wow, Ajib. He couldn't just say an or something for you? He couldn't give you that, huh?
He could say it. So that
Why does a word that's so simple and present have so many syllables?
What, دلوقتي?
Yeah.
That shows you Arab Standard Time. It says دلوقتي.
It was like
that in and of itself is a 5-minute delay.
Yeah, right?
It was tough because what happened was the institute I was at, they had ended up overcharging us for stuff and they were refusing to give us the money back, and there became an issue. And so
but it's like when you say overcharging, I'm just like, you're already getting a good deal because of currency.
But he said principle. Like, you don't want to be, you don't want to feel like you're violated or abused, because then you will be abused. Okay. Yeah.
So so they gave us they gave myself my two.
What was the alternative? They wouldn't give it back to you. Just like,
yeah, they said, or you leave right now.
What do you mean?
Like you will give you a partial refund, but you leave right now. You're not a student anymore in the institute.
But you went through the programming though, right?
Yeah. So it's like 75 hours of instruction per level, and they had like 11 levels or something.
Okay.
So I had finished 2 levels, and the 3rd level we were like the last day before finishing that one.
Yeah.
When all this happened, and I don't know, for the reason they wanted to play hardball, and so
what, they thought they were gonna be there for all 11 levels?
No, I mean they knew we were there temporarily just for the summer.
Okay.
Yeah. my other two friends stayed. I left. Again, based on principle. So I joined another institute, and then I finished off my last couple of weeks there. Focus on Quran a lot more then.
What would be their reaction if you go into their office, close the door, and pull out a pair of nunchucks? Would they give you a refund then?
They wouldn't.
No.
That would be trouble.
They have a saying that says, إذا كنت غريب فكن أديب. Like when you're a stranger in a different land, then be respectful, be well-mannered.
Okay.
Because you're on their turf, bro. You're on their turf. Bilal, you're the type that would go get into a fight in some random country and then get deported, disappear for like 2 years. People are like, where's Bilal? Hashtag Bilal. Bilal starting fights and bring Bilal home. Yeah, bring Bilal home. Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, Egypt was good though. Honestly, overall, I loved it. And man, you can get, if you go there focused. I only spent 2.5 months. It's enough for me. Alhamdulillah, still stuck with me to the point now. If I go overseas, I could talk in Arabic. I could be good. I'm not 100% fluent.
That's because you maintained it, though. I mean, the challenge with these types of immersion programs.
What stuck with me was the speaking. A lot of the grammar rules and that's I lost when I went to Baina later. I had to relearn a lot of it, but the speaking stuck with me.
I mean, I would be surprised.
2.5 months.
Like heck, we go to school for however many years on English grammar. How much do we actually remember the actual technical rules and stuff? Like we just know this is you read and read, but you don't know how to explain it.
I still don't know English grammar.
Who does, right?
Really?
So the fact that we're learning a foreign language grammar and thinking that we're gonna know it or learn or maintain it is just like, I think you shouldn't biting off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
So 2 years in medical school, or 2 years finish your undergrad, and then
Went to the year off
for another year in Egypt.
No, that was I stayed in Michigan. I worked. I taught the Islamic school that I went to my whole life. Started working on my hifz.
How far did you get?
I'm still working on it. Yeah.
Is this something you do on your own, or you got like a teacher tracking you, or?
So right now I'm on my own. I was with the teacher in Dallas, and I'm inshallah gonna start back with him soon.
Gotcha.
But I need to build up a little bit before I go, because when I hit with him, it's hard. So I gotta have like some reserve, Right. I'm building up that reserve to start with the beginning, inshallah.
So you spent a year just teaching at the Islamic school.
Yeah.
Was your teacher still there?
She was still there. She's still there
The
now.
Arabic teacher, mashallah.
She's still there
Allah
now.
bless her.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
She's still there now.
Okay. And then after that, it was med school.
That's started med school. 2007 started medical school.
And you knew you wanted to be an ER doctor.
I did not like medical.
I was gonna say is like ER doctor is probably like the toughest job. You go there if you really want to hate yourself.
I didn't really think what I wanted to be.
Okay.
To be honest, the name of the game was survival.
Okay.
That was it. Because I didn't like medical school. I didn't want to be there.
So this is an assumption that I have about people who go to med school, right? They go through their training, then they go into residency, right?
Yeah.
And then in residency, you kind of rotate between different things. And in that rotation, my understanding would be that, oh, you know what? This looks cool to me. I want to specialize in that.
So that's done in medical school itself. So there's 2 years of book work.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 years of rotations.
Okay.
And then in those 2 years of rotations, you get a taste of everything, or most everything, not everything, but you could try. Like, let's say you want to do a specialized field, you have elective months you could do.
Sure.
And then after that, then you're applying for residency, and then your residency is your specialty that you're going to be in.
Gotcha. So after you've had a taste of everything, you're like, you know what? I want my residency to be in X.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Some people know from the beginning what they want to do, and then they're gunning for it from day one,
So you're telling me after all of those rotations and stuff, you still were like, I don't know what I want to do.
So I didn't know until I did ER, which was towards the end of my 3rd year of medical school.
Okay.
I think it was April, and then I did an ER rotation.
Yeah.
And I liked it, surprisingly, because I remember my first experience in the ER was when I was on a pediatric rotation, and they sent me to go see a patient in the ER, and I go there because he was going to be admitted, and then I just saw like a very overweight patient that was being code blue, meaning CPR and everything, and it was just a mess of a situation. Like, she could barely fit on the bed, or people like trying to. It was bad. It was
And you're like, this is where I belong.
And I was like, I could never do this. That was my thought. I was like, I could never do this.
Like, yo, what did I want? What did I get myself into?
But then when I did my rotation, almost like 9 months later, I actually liked it. And so,
what was different from your first experience to like, yo, I like it?
And that lady wasn't there.
honestly don't know. I think part of it was obviously being brand new to the hospital.
Okay.
You know, like I never spent time in a hospital before as like volunteering in a hospital. You know, I did
Okay.
rehab stuff.
To be honest, still, when I go to hospitals, I'm just like, I don't want to stay
Yeah,
there.
it depends
for
on
more
the
than
hospital. I go to like a.
I've never walked into a hospital and said, "Oh, this is beautiful. I'd love to."
No, the cool thing is like if you go to like.
the hospital in Bloomfield Hills, where Unity Center is.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's a nice hospital. It's a 5-star hospital. MashaAllah.
No, cause I think the cool thing for me is like all the gear that they have, like all of the like the MRI machines and,
Yeah.
and like those kind of tech people. It's just like, and also the thing that fascinates me is like now because of data, how you can like look at analytics and like pull trends of like that this is what's actually affecting people and like why they're dying and what you can do. Like that stuff is interesting. It's the smell of hospitals, the sterility, I guess, could use some improvement.
Yeah. No, I had the same feeling. I hated the scrubs, like that color of the scrubs. Like
The
if I was in
blue?
hospital. Yeah. There's like a light blue. I just hated it. So
Why are they all blue? Do you have any idea?
When we were at the hospital for my wife's for when she was giving birth, there's different shades, and the shade was representative of the rank
Of the
or like group that they were part of.
position, yeah.
Right, like I think the lighter blue were nurses, darker blue were doctors, or like higher ranking nurses, or something like that.
Yeah. So where I work right now, it's
Yeah.
similar, where the nurses wear a color, the techs wear a color, the X-ray techs will wear a color, stuff like that. But for the docs,
All wear white lab coats.
well, a lot of the upstairs docs do. For the ER,
Yeah.
I wear any color scrubs I want. It's
Okay.
fine. You know, all of us. Some people wear pants, like regular pants and shirts. You know, and that's
is the schedule like a big factor? I know you are doctors. You're like on and off.
So that was a big part of it, flexibility.
Okay.
So what I was looking for was
I would assume it's
something that I would.
flexible.
I know these guys work like 12 days straight, and then they have the rest of the month off.
No, not ER.
Not like 12 days straight. I mean, but like you work
Yeah,
in
I mean,
batches.
you work shifts, which is nice because you don't have to manage a practice.
Okay.
You know, it's shift work. When you're on, you're on. When you're off, you're not on call. You're not gonna be called in the middle of the night or any day or whatever.
Or you could go do whatever you want.
And you can schedule like if I want to take like in residency, alhamdulillah, like I was able to go to Hajj twice. Like I took, and I just booked this time off. I stacked my shifts. I worked like 17 shifts in the first 18 days or 20 days.
Okay.
But in general, that's
So you would
very difficult to do,
So
right?
you liked that flexibility.
flexibility is huge. Flexibility is huge for me. And
Okay.
ER is one of those things.
Keep in mind something interesting.
Yeah.
Is that he is one of those strange people who can go without sleep.
Okay.
Like in what I've known of Farhan, like over the years traveling and stuff like that, he's the type that will be up till 12, have a 5 a.m. flight,
Yeah.
and then go straight into
That's why
like a 12-hour shift.
And I got work
Like this is what I've known from him for at least the past 6-7 years.
in 9 hours, by the way.
Yeah. Like, how long is the shift?
In a city 4 hours away from here.
Yeah. 4 hours away.
It's a 12-hour shift,
You're
right?
driving really,
12-hour shift?
really fast.
It's a 9-hour shift officially, which means you're there 10, 11 hours.
Yeah, like, and
And you're like on your feet too.
I mean, yeah, it's ER. You're busy.
because the interesting thing is being able to, like, when you're talking about doing med school and being able to combine it with, doing da'wah work, being able to combine it with years, off and traveling like you do, like there's definitely a lack of sleep that's involved.
I mean,
in-
residency, medical school, residency in general, yeah, you're like sleep. So I guess they build you up.
Whereas someone like myself, 9 o'clock hits and I'm done.
So Bar's about to knock out in like an hour.
I might fall asleep standing up right now.
He falls asleep sitting down.
My grandfather, my grandfather, Hafidhullah, this is a real story. My grandfather, Hafidhullah, in my village in Sudan, until now, he's still alive. He famously would fall asleep on his donkey outside of the village.
Like on the way in.
And on his way in or outside, he's on his donkey. And his donkey will just come and bring him all the way home. He's asleep on his donkey coming all the way home. And, it's like automatic driving from before.
Bro.
But it's amazing. It's a lifestyle.
Yo, we need to get some of them donkeys up in here.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, they'll be Tesla. Like, at least the donkeys know how to avoid people, right?
They do.
Like, all these self-driving cars, the biggest problem is they don't know how to avoid people,
Yep.
right? Especially if the people themselves are dumb.
The donkeys know their way home. You just, and he'll be coming through the village and everybody's just seeing, They're just watching him come through, he's knocked out on his donkey.
I'm just trying to imagine, how is he sitting? Like,
You're hunched over. So you're on the donkey, he's just knocked out. He's gone.
I would imagine, like, I fall asleep, I just roll right off the donkey. And
No, you don't roll, man. You keep your
donkey's
position.
dragging me.
You learn to keep your position.
Was there any other specialty that you might have maybe considered?
So I was considering radiology,
Okay.
which is
Which is even more chill, isn't it?
it's chill. It's very chill. but
Yeah.
it's polar opposite of ER. Like you don't see a patient. Well, you can do interventional radiology, then you're doing procedures, but for the most part, you're sitting in a room and reading plain films, or their X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, ultrasounds, all that stuff. You know,
You can do that from your home eventually.
even that's potential you can. Yeah. But then once I did ER, I liked ER and I went for it. And alhamdulillah, I saw what happened was after my third year medical school 4 years. After my third year, I took a year off again, and that was to go to the Bayna Dream program. I had attended.
This was the first batch.
This is the first batch.
year.
So that's
That
not the other
reminds me of- Yes, I was in classes with the better. I attended divine speech. I like I said, I love the Arabic language ever since my Arabic teacher and
You only went to Egypt. What did you expect to get out of?
so a lot of the stuff that I would teach in terms of, you know, balagha and linguistics and stuff, meanings of words and how they subtly differ in different places, it was very fascinating to me. Always been.
Okay.
Even my local teachers, I would always ask them these kind of questions.
Right.
So when I first went to divine speech, and I was like, this is what I've been looking for. And then I found out about Dream program. I knew this was a time I had to take to attend it, because if I didn't, if I wait till after
It's now or never.
start, I can't do a residency.
Right.
And then if I did it after fourth year, so if I waited the first year for them to join the second batch, after my fourth year of medical school, I would have graduated medical school.
Right.
But then you have to go through the match, you know, to apply for residency. So it complicates things. If you don't apply, then you apply another year. So this is my chance to go, or you have to wait till after residency.
Right.
And so I took the year off, came down to Dallas, and did the program, and then went back, finished my fourth year, and then
So you did a 10-month Arabic intensive program.
Yeah.
It was 9 to 6 also, same thing.
not 9 to 6. No, it was like we finished by 3-ish.
Man, my impression of that program was people playing ping pong all the time. Whenever I
Or Street
visited.
Fighter.
What?
Or Street
Or Street Fighter, right? Yeah, that was like I visited there a couple times.
Street Fighter in Arabic. Tabban lak. Oh, it would have been pretty cool.
We watched Kung Fu Panda.
In Arabic?
Not in class, but he told us to. I just remember what was the mouse, the master mouse or rabbit.
Master Stiffy.
That's Zivu.
Which was
like
he
was-
Master.
I've
He's
never
telling the
watched
Kung Fu
Kung
guy-
Fu Panda or anything. You can watch the other video.
We can exclude Ammar from this conversation.
He
now.
was telling the panda, "Ayyuhal ahmaq." Just remember that line.
You guys are grown-ups watching
like,
cartoons.
Bosma,
Like, I
like,
understand if you
pure
have like a
Bosma.
child with
Bro,
you.
bro. You gotta
I'm a
understand.
child,
It's not a
but-
cartoon.
What do you mean?
It's CG animation. All right, cartoons and Looney Tunes. That's cartoon.
Same thing, bro.
No, it's not.
Kung Fu Panda was legendary.
That's like saying you and Kamal Mekki are the same people.
First of all, we are.
Take out the Kubi.
Exactly. I mean, we are the same, as well as Buna Muhammad. We're all the same person.
Now, I'm just wondering, in 10 months in Bayna, I've heard mixed reviews, experiences of people. Some people, like they drop out because it's too intense or whatever. Now, considering somebody, wanted to learn Arabic and joined up, what did you find that was like a positive takeaway for you? Well, the better question is, what did you think going in and what did you get out of it? Was it different than your expectations?
Yeah, it was the first year.
Yeah.
It was always hiccup.
Like y'all were just your guinea pigs.
Yeah, we were the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
But usually it's like the idealistic guinea pig, right? So it's like, the first Al-Maghrib class, I know people who used to always make sure that they go into the first one because they're like, after the first one, they're going to do a lot of editing and so that's where you're going to get all of the information.
I'm like,
So-
give me the 10th one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way, by the way. I never used to try to get the first one. So yeah,
It was good. I mean, overall, it was a very positive experience. I think, I got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
One of the great things about it was the relationships that you build. Other students who are coming.
You're with them for 10 months.
Yeah. So 60 students. There's about evenly split, 30 guys, 30 girls, who all came to learn Arabic. And then of course their teachers as well.
Right.
So I still have a relationship with like Sheikh Abdul Nasser. A lot of my classmates are some of my closest friends to this day. So some of the people that I met were huge that you don't get when you go overseas.
Yeah.
And then the insight into like American dawah, dawah scene in America versus like if I'm studying in Egypt and I'm not getting exposed to any of that,
Okay.
These guys were obviously teaching around the US.
Is it fair to call it the Dawah scene though?
Whatever
what do you want to call it?
I don't know. I just call it the Muslim education scene.
Sure, let's do it.
It's literally the same thing.
No, it's not. Like
You're
what-
doing tomatoes versus tomato.
all right, how many of these folks actually
Went out and gave dawah.
well,
That's what you're gonna say.
yeah, like out of
40 days.
No, wait.
He means going out into the street. You're talking about street dawah.
I'm not even talking about street dawah. I'm talking about your whole objective of presentation, content, and influence is about educating people who don't know about Islam that haven't.
That's because you are restricting the meaning of da'wah to conversion.
Well, it's beyond conversion, awareness.
Yeah, but it's to non-Muslims. Whereas
Right.
education of a Muslim, right, calling them and giving them the tools to come closer to Allah is also a manifestation of da'wah. It's
So
also
so during the time of the companions, did the teaching of Rasulullah ﷺ to the companions, was that da'wah?
yes.
Did they call it da'wah? Because almost all the time in the seerah, the da'wah was almost specific to either battles or talking to other people who were against them, trying to get support. But rarely, at least in my experience, was it ever communicated that, oh, we're trying to get other Muslims. That's da'wah. Right? That was just,
Other Muslims who are already Muslims.
yeah.
Every aspect of it is da'wah. Because al-Jum'ah is da'wah. That's given to Muslims. You teaching is da'wah. It's all part
Or ta'aleem or whatever, like.
all of it.
But then I just feel like it gets restricted to that.
No, it shouldn't get restricted to either. So
Okay.
it's the entire institution of calling people to Jannah.
Okay.
And protecting them from the hellfire. That's da'wah. So whether it's a Muslim being brought closer or whether it's a non-Muslim being brought closer, it's all part of da'wah.
So I did the Billionaire program. I mean, that was the main things. And then what if I went to Egypt and studied there for that 10 months? Would have gotten more out of it? Probably, in the sense of, in terms of purely Arabic, because there's your immersion and then it's one-on-one.
Right.
You know, or when I went
I thought you were part of classes.
when I went in 04, it was a private tutor, but it was 4 of us, so 4 to 1, but we're all on the same level.
Gotcha.
And versus in Baina, we had students who came in who didn't know which letters connected and which ones didn't.
Oh, for
For
real?
basics,
I
and we
thought-
had
I
students
thought-
who
I
had
thought
completed
you
in
were-
Medina books. So we had a wide spectrum.
Okay.
And there's a
In Egypt, the teachers would have, or I guess the students together, they would have all been from the same, they would all have been from America or from the Western world. They would have all been English speakers.
Yeah, for me it was me, one of the brothers who I went with, my best friend, and then there were 2 brothers from France who were Algerian background.
So
4 of us.
very important as well. We've gotten that. You've gone back, finished med school. How did Sweetness of Salah come about? Sweetness of Salah
Yeah.
is a 1-day course that has, I remember we brought it to my masjid in Jersey City, Masjid Tawheed. And it was a 1-day course where kids who I used to never see coming to the masjid except being dragged, you know, like the teenagers. And after that, I used to see, after the course, immediately after the course, I used to see them coming to the Salah on their own, right? And so that transformation saw in a lot of different places. So where did the idea of that seminar come about? You took it on the road to a lot of different cities, alhamdulillah, and it's always done really, really well. People have appreciated it a lot. I've heard a lot of great feedback about it.
I don't know where it started from.
Okay.
If I had to point to something that I can recall, and I don't know what it is, but I remember one time I was in, I want to say one of the Carolinas for a fundraising.
Okay.
A small masjid. There might have been like,
So you were doing a lot of fundraising. It's a talent that you have that you hate that you have. And you travel all over or at some point you were traveling all over the country, basically fundraising.
during medical school into rotations, and then I still fundraise rarely here and there during residency, and then now after residency, but mainly medical school, undergrad medical schools.
Okay, so you were in South Carolina or North Carolina fundraising.
No, I take it back. I started fundraising during my year off. So in medical school and after. Yeah, that's when I started. Yeah. And I was doing a lot. So I was somewhere, and then, so it was Ramadan. I gave a talk after, 4 rakahs, 8 rakahs, whatever it was. Made an appeal. I believe they asked me to lead with it or something like this. Anyways, and then they wanted just like a Q&A. I was like, okay. Very small community. I don't know if they had really had any imam, and it was a very small masjid.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, somebody asked me about how do you get khushu in your salah, and then I gave like a
Like you warm up.
Yeah. We gave like a 5-10 minute answer. But I remember after that question, I was.
Khushu means mindfulness, by the way.
Yeah. Mind, presence of mind in the very action that you're doing. Close your eyes and imagine this.
And then I remember looking.
Supposed to continue the line, bro.
I don't know what that is.
That's your poem, bro.
My poem? I was like, what is this guy doing? I was actually worried that you were going to hold my hand because your hand was going in that direction.
I'm always like, yo.
Yeah. So at this point, if you can see our hands, then Bilal can replay my facial expression as his hand was approaching.
Just close your mind and imagine this eternal bliss. And that was going to...
Excellent. So,
Anyways, I started researching, and what I found, like, in terms of what's in the English language, what's available, is a lot of lectures or books that when they talk about Khushu and Salah, they talk about the manifestations of Khushu and Salah.
Okay.
Like, if you have Khushu and Salah, you should be crying in your prayer, and you should, love prayer, and you should.
and you're like, yeah, but how do you get it?
But how do you get it?
It's like, this is what it means to be healthy. But like, I'm sick right now.
Yeah, how you get there. And I didn't find that. So then I just started slowly picking things here and there, and it became like, I remember I think I gave a qiyam once.
So what was the answer you gave to them then?
I don't remember, but it developed.
It inspired the journey. That's
It
the point.
inspired, okay. They're like, look, dude, I don't know, but I'll find out later.
Before residency started. So when I finished medical school,
Yeah.
I had a couple months. I went hard on the research for it and prepared it and I taught it a couple times and got it recorded in one of my first times I taught it because I
So
wasn't
that
sure.
recording is one of the first times you taught it?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it was
The one in
third.
Dallas.
Yeah, I taught in Dearborn once, in Atlanta, in Alabama. I'm sorry, Huntsville, Alabama. Shout out to the people out there, mashallah. And then I went
Shout out to Huntsville, Alabama.
That was an awesome class. One of my favorite classes till this day. It's a small community, but they rolled out. And then I went to Dallas, and I was recording in Dallas.
Okay.
And then I wasn't sure what my schedule would be in residency if I could travel and teach it.
Well, let me ask you this. If somebody were to ask you that now, how do I get khushu and salah?
Mindfulness.
I would just tell them, go to YouTube and search Sweetness and Salah.
No, like straight up. Like what would you, like is that, you'd be like, look, I'm not going to answer that question right here, right now. Go to YouTube and watch my entire 10 hours of...
Kind of.
No, Bilal is asking that question because then you're going to give a 2-minute answer and then boom, that in and of itself is a standalone video.
Yeah, but it could be
Come on, man. You got to know how the game is
Get
playing.
with the program, bro. Let's go.
It's hard. I mean, there's a lot you could say, but the famous story of the Prophet ﷺ when he was standing up at night until his feet would swell.
Sure.
And then Aisha asked him, why do you do that? And then he says, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Should I be a very grateful slave? I think that kind of encompasses a lot of what somebody needs to realize for Khushu and Salah before they go into like a lot of the class contents about the positions of prayer, what you say and the meanings and all those things. But to be able to stand till your feet would swell, you're standing for hours.
Right.
Right. To be able to stand and read Baqarah, Nisa, and Ali Imran on one rak'ah, you're standing for hours.
Right.
To do that and still be focused and concentrated, there has to be a level of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a level of overwhelming sense of gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think that would guide it. And so when he says, Akun Abdul Shakur, shouldn't I be a grateful slave? The feeling of gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is huge to push someone to worship. It's very different if somebody's waking up for Fajr because their mom is about to beat them up if they don't, versus they do it because they love to pray.
Right. And even in this scenario, the Prophet ﷺ, he's demonstrating that he's not praying one of the required prayers.
Yeah.
He's praying above and beyond.
And Aisha, she's asking him, she's saying, Allah's forgiven any past, future mistakes. Yeah. There's nothing to worry about.
Right.
And you're still doing this.
So you got it made.
Yeah.
You got this in the bag. But he's like, should I not be? I think part of it, what you just articulated, is like, I would say it's a combination of things to get to that level. Right? Like, I think that's like, like 10th degree kind of thing. But like, part of it is one, on the most basic level, as I understand it, it's one, what is it that you're grateful for? Right?
Recognition.
Right? Like recognizing that, counting your blessings if you can, at least, whatever you can. Yeah. And then from there, now to be able to stand. Right? Like now using that blessing, that one blessing to be able to do that worship, and then engaging in the gift, assuming you have the gift of having not only not just memorized, but like really taken to heart these verses and taken the time and the effort to apply or learn the language. And then from there, as you're engaged in the verses in its language, Now you're kind of like pondering and engaging and interacting with it in this kind of spiritual and emotional experience. Like now it's like, I would think it's similar to watching a really good movie, right? Like you can sit for hours, binge watch Netflix stuff because the characters and the stories are resonating with you and, you know, the things that you've experienced. And the presentation of it is nice and polished. And if you understand the language, you kind of get a glimpse of that within the Quran itself. And so is it so hard to believe where you have a beautiful presentation that resonates with you and you're connected to, and it's true that, you know, you could binge recite and binge engage with that?
It's not hard to believe at all.
Yeah. I mean, we do it already with the stuff
That's
that's
called being engaged.
Yeah.
When you're engaged in something. Like you give the example of playing basketball, you know, getting your ankle twisted, still wanting to play more.
Yeah.
That happens. I'm sure you experienced that in rolling. You're still wanting to roll because you're so present, you're so adrenaline takes over, you're so...
In fact, it takes a lot to be like, you know what? I just heard a pop. I should stop.
Yeah, so you have to convince yourself to stop. See? So when a person is present and engaged and stuff like that, you lose track of time. That's what it's called, right? Lose track of time.
Yeah, you get in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
The sweetness of Salah. What would you say was, because you've done it in a lot of different cities. What was your favorite city?
What was my favorite city?
Yeah.
Hunting in Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama was up there.
Huntsville,
But
Alabama.
honestly, I think who surpassed them, and I hope I'm not forgetting somebody.
Yeah.
Minnesota rolled out.
Okay.
Minnesota rolled out.
Was it the sheer numbers that really kind
The numbers, the energy.
Minnesota gives you energy, man. I'm
Minnesota,
telling
yeah,
you,
it was.
it's not just about the numbers. They come and they're engaged and present and loud and they laugh at all your jokes.
Minnesota was good. I even learned a little Somali for them. I forgot it now, but I'll have to learn it again before.
Don't worry, you'll relearn it before you...
I'll go there, inshallah. Baltimore was great. Connecticut, the crew in Connecticut. I did my sweetness Hajj back in Connecticut because of the crew there. Yeah, because the sweetness Hajj class.
Yeah.
Salah people come out for Hajj. If you're not going to Hajj, people you don't care.
Wait, so you had another program called Sweetness of Hajj?
I have a sweetness of Hajj class.
That's also a great program. I know a lot of Hajjaj benefit from that program as well.
What is
It's recorded online as well.
Is that a program that you would attend and participate in pre-Hajj or post-Hajj?
Definitely pre-Hajj.
Okay.
And I would say
So
go
the
through
Hajj
it even if
prep
you're not going to
program.
Hajj. Yeah.
Okay.
But I try to like also focus on lessons that can apply to people who don't go to Hajj. Because if you look at the Hajj is a pillar of Islam.
Yeah.
Yet the majority of the Ummah will die having not performed the pillar of Islam.
Right.
Foundation. So why? Allah says there's benefits for them, you know.
Well, I think part of the idea is that you do it when you're about to die, but then you don't know.
You don't know when this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, but even just financial ability. I mean, the overall Muslim majority of the Muslim Ummah.
People complain about Hajj being really, really expensive. And my response is always, it's always been expensive.
Yeah.
Like it's never not been expensive. It's like from the time of, it's always been expensive as far as journeying over there.
Provisions for like 3 months to
There
get
was
there.
always
You
a
can imagine.
price that you needed to
Yeah.
pay to go to Hajj. So if you're able to go, then it's a great, great blessing from Allah.
Did you take Sheikh Muhammad's risk management?
I did.
All right. That was just because he has that whole NLP section on.
Yes, I remember that.
The thing that resonated most from risk management was when he described the light.
So risk management, for those of you, Bilal just assumes everybody's followed his.
It's a classic seminar taught by Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, the founder of the institution, that covered.
Why is my camera so dark?
Because you black, bro. Don't worry, I'll fix it in editing.
You're gonna have to fix it, man. It's like I can barely see myself.
Well, you gotta get closer because right now, again, don't worry about it. It's a Sony camera. The benefit of a Sony camera is that
You got night vision.
it's got latitude, right?
Okay.
Whereas the Panasonics, they've also got latitude, but in a different way. It looks.
I'm saying Bilal all illuminated and stuff. I'm looking like, yeah, man. You put all those. So I am.
I got two sources of light right here. Of course, I'm gonna illuminate, right? Right? I'm just like the moon, bro.
That's actually the smoothest line I've ever heard Bilal say in my entire life. My man is slowly learning. Every decade he picks up a compliment.
Right? It's like the moon with two suns, right? I mean, come on, bro. It's like Tatooine, bro. I'm Tatooine right here.
And I don't know what that means.
You know what I'm saying, right? It's kind of on there, right?
He got too excited. Tatooine.
It's that classic Star Wars image with Luke Skywalker watching one sun rise and the other sun set.
Sorry, man.
Right, and Tatooine is a two solar. Oh man, forget it. Yo, leave a comment below. Shout out to any Star Wars.
All the Star Wars people.
Yeah, although I'm a Trekkie for life. But anyway,
I think he's referring to Star
No
Trek.
Star Trek, no Star Wars, nothing, man.
although I gotta say, Star
No
Trek.
Star Trek, no Star Wars, no Pixar, no Disney.
That's where me and you have a
sorry,
little bit of a
man.
problem, bro.
Yeah, I had mentioned this before. It's like Ammar and I, we need to do like a marathon. Like let's just do, like binge watch with Khushu, with mindful presence of Disney Pixar. Well, Star Wars, forget Star Wars. In fact, if you don't watch anything Star Wars, The Mandalorian.
I did see Up.
Okay, that's one.
See Up.
Up is good. Up is up there.
My limit is if I walk to my house, if I go see my family in New York and my sisters have something that they're watching,
Yeah.
I'll sit down, I'll watch it with them.
I take it you didn't watch it in its entirety.
Well, Up?
Yeah.
No, I think I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't fall asleep.
You might.
90% of the movies that we start, I fall asleep. 90%. But Up, I watched the whole thing. I remember the first 15 minutes was really amazing because there was no dialogue and they told this incredible story of life and death. And
Yeah.
it was very powerful.
Wally is like that. The first 45 minutes, not a single word of dialogue. It's beautiful.
I don't know who Wally is.
Wally is a robot, the garbage robot.
No, haven't
another
caught
Pixar
any of
movie.
those.
But anyway.
Where were we?
This is how it goes, bro. This is how it goes.
Bro, I gotta say that we were talking about for sure, right? Like,
Skip, how much time now, man?
I was asking you about
less than 9 hours to get to my
You
shit.
said Minnesota was your
Yes, Minnesota was up there.
Yeah.
Baltimore, Connecticut, Huntsville.
Okay.
Those are the top 4 for sure. Maybe I'm missing somebody. Forgive me.
And now we're in the new course.
So now we're starting, inshallah, Tafsir Surah Al-Hujurat.
What it's actually called is called Strength and Honor.
No, Faith and Honor. Strength and Honor is the Gladiator movie, bro. Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that, bro?
Strength and Honor.
Strength and Honor. Strength and Honor. This is called Faith and Honor. No, really.
It's a seminar that goes into developing one's own character to attain the respect that you should always have, because at the end of the day, the respect that you have is a reflection of the character that you embody.
So Hujurat is typically known as a surah that talks about adab and, character. What's interesting though is there's a very strong emphasis on iman.
Yeah.
And then when you say honor, we're talking about a few things. Number one, how to honor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Surah Hujurat comes after Surah Fatah and Surah Muhammad, which also have a heavy emphasis on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Surah Hujurat continues in that same vein. So honoring Allah and His Messenger in the revelation, as well as how to honor one another, then how all that translates into receiving honor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
So that's kind of where the name came from. Faith is a huge part of it, and then the honoring part. But it's a surah it's one of those foundational surahs that I think every Muslim should study. It really helps develop the quality and the character of a believer.
And what's interesting is that the surah itself, the way it addresses the reader or the listener, right? Throughout several verses, there is Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, right? And then there's also Ya ayyuhan nas.
Yeah, so Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu comes 5 times in the surah. There's 18 verses.
For those of you who are unfamiliar, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu means, oh, those of you who trust in the promise of Allah, right? What is the promise? You're going to die, you're going to be held accountable for your sins, and all that stuff that comes with the belief in Allah and angels and hereafter and prophets and scripture and whatnot.
Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu comes 5 times.
Okay. Out of 18 verses.
Out of 18 verses.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you're seeing an emphasis on
So
iman.
20% of the starting of this within the surah is
that.
Yeah.
It comes in the Quran, I think, 88 times.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Oh, 5 of them
5 out of the 8
in the whole Quran are right in one surah. And a surah that's 2 pages and 2 and a quarter pages long, 2 and a third pages
Is it really
long.
88? I'd be surprised because it seems like it would come a lot more than that.
I believe it's 88. I'm double checking.
Anybody want to do a fact check on this? How many times does Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu appear in the Quran? Leave a comment below. Let us know.
It could very well be 88.
And then here's a bonus question. There's only one Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu that doesn't come to start the ayah. So find that.
Is that in the Surah Al-Hujurat?
Nope.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
And what's the reason why? Also, it's another question to ask. Why is Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu not in the start of this ayah? One time that it comes. And then you have one Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, I call it mankind.
Jumma khutbah, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullah. That's the beginning of it.
That's the beginning of that, yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Make sure I'm not reciting for like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, a call to believers. It's a call that any time that you hear it in the Quran,
Okay.
there's some instruction coming afterwards, either a command or a prohibition.
Sure.
And so it's obviously important for the believers to pay attention to what's coming. And it could have been one, could have sufficed.
Mhm.
You could have just had one for the whole surah, but
Sure.
the fact that 4 more are there
Yeah.
is emphasizing what comes after each one of those, And then you have Ya ayyuhan nas, and that comes at the end. After all 5 come in the surah, the 13th verse of the surah starts with Ya ayyuhan nas. And that's a call to mankind, addressing some universalities and commonalities between all of us.
Right.
The famous verse that we all know, that all mankind, we created you from a male and a female and mating to nations and tribes, so that you may know one another.
Yeah.
And the most honored of you in the eyes of Allah are those who have the most taqwa.
This brings us to the question of like, is there nationalism in Islam? Is there nationalism and tribalism? And is it racist to ask, where are you from? It might be if you're trying to ask that question to separate, right? But if you're asking so that you can get to know one another, then that's cool. What's the follow-up to that in the verse? So you get to know one another.
إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. Allah is all knowledgeable and all well acquainted.
Right. And Surah Al-Hujurat, for those of you who are unacquainted, is also Surah very famously known for telling people to verify your sources.
Yes.
Especially in the era of fake news.
What's interesting about the verse is it tells us to confirm naba, not khabar.
Okay.
What's the difference?
If we were to play this game right here, right? Like, because there's a surah called An-Naba.
أيوة.
Yeah, and so
come with naba.
right, they come with revelation, right? Something that from above as opposed to from below or from wherever. So it's something that's divine, right?
Okay.
But if somebody comes with you some revelation as opposed to news, right? So is there a difference between news and revelation?
Is he close?
Oh, yeah.
I'm on the right track.
You're on the right track. Yeah, the right track.
Well, give me a breadcrumb. Give me a clue.
I'm gonna have to.
Because I'm
Okay, here's the thing. That's not revelation. I'm yatasa'alun.
okay.
What are they asking about?
Okay.
On naba al-azim. On the naba that is very great. But that's not revelation.
They're not okay. So
Well, not directly revelation. But
I mean, I was just gonna say that those are verses. How are they not?
yeah, no, but what Allah is, telling us, they're asking about something.
Yeah.
On naba al-azim, but He used the word naba
Okay.
because it's something that's very,
Important.
very important. The Day of Judgment, big time, something serious.
Okay. Oh, so in this case, the news and the naba has to do with bringing us back to the reality that you're gonna die, and there's a reality.
It's included in that. I mean, it's
Okay.
not limited to that, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's khabar is just whatever. Like if somebody told me that
So he
red pandas are extinct, I wouldn't necessarily. I love red pandas. Red pandas.
Oh, red pandas, aka Master Sifu.
La samahallah. But I wouldn't classify that as naba unless if you're like a red pandologist.
Okay.
That's the thing. The Navy's big for you.
So like breaking news. So
Big news.
Breaking news. Yeah, nowadays
It's like
small things breaking news. Like if some personality breaks her fingernail, it's breaking news. Everybody's like,
Kobe Bryant's helicopter crashed.
Yeah.
And he passes away along with 9 other people and his daughter.
Yeah. And that's a great example of angelical classical naba because the initial reports were all his daughters were with him. The initial reports were Rick Fox was on the plane with him, one of his former teammates, and died. And so other teammates were calling Rick Fox, trying to find out if he was alive or not, or afraid to call him. And he's finding out from people that everybody thinks he's dead.
Right.
Right. So that's the thing of
There was a situation where Steve Jobs is dead. He knew that he was dead when he was alive.
TMZ, right? Like the whole culture of TMZ.
Yes. Paparazzi culture and like try to break the news, but even outside of that, make up news so you can be there first for something that's not there.
yeah, and the idea of being the first.
Yes.
Whereas in that same verse, and we'll talk about it in the class, inshallah, but this idea that we learn of Prophet when he says al-ajaratu min ash-shaytan.
Okay.
Wat-tabayyun min Allah. To confirm news.
Okay.
Is from a character of a believer. Versus rushing to do things is from shaitan.
So the idea of rushing to do something, meaning that, okay, some breaking news comes to you, the issue of whether it's fake news or not, do you take action on it? Action can only be or should only be taken after you verified whether or not the news is true, whether you fact checked it. Is that what it's implying or instructing or prescribing?
Yeah.
Yes?
To confirm it. Yeah.
Okay. What's the consequence of not doing that?
Well, that's depends on what happened. But Allah says in the verse, "And
Okay.
tusibu qawman bi jahala." Allah says that if you act on it,
Yeah.
then you may harm a people
Right.
out of ignorance and not knowing what you're doing.
Now, this revelation, this particular verse, came at a time when a companion brought some news, right?
Yeah.
And then it became an issue, and you asked a question earlier off camera, I think, but you're talking about the issue of a fasiq, right? First question is, what is a fasiq?
So a fasiq, the verse says,
Because I'm thinking Wilson Fisk.
"In ja'akum fasiq." If
He is a fasiq, by the way.
Okay.
if a fasiq comes to you with news, so fasiq on the Arabic language means to come out,
Okay.
to be exposed.
Okay.
That's kind of the linguistic meaning of it.
Sure.
So they would say, for example, the seed, they would say
Yeah.
"fasaqat al-habba," like the seed came out from its shell
Like a
when
sprout.
when it sprouts out.
Okay.
So the shell is protecting the seed from the environment, from
Sure,
the weather, from animals, whatever it is.
Okay.
So how it applies here is if somebody is publicly sinning, openly sinning,
Okay.
they're coming out from the protection of iman.
Right.
They're being exposed to the whispers of shaitan.
Maybe they engage in vices, when no one's looking.
Yeah, so fasiq, what the scholars
Yeah.
refer to here, a couple things. One, they specifically say,
Someone who openly is engaging in vices.
yes, but the other thing that they also specifically mention in this context is lying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
In general, it applies to publicly or openly sinning major sins.
yeah.
But also very specifically refers to the idea of lying.
So documented liars. Okay. The person who brought the news was a companion.
Yeah.
Right. And then the question that was brought up was, can companions be fasiq? Can they be how do you describe that though? Like, can a companion be somebody who's engaged in vices openly? The first thing that comes to mind.
Can they be classified as a transgressor? Like that's what it is. Like it's a classification.
Right, because the first story that comes to mind is that companion who would get drunk, right, and then they would they would carry out the legal punishment for public drunkenness, and other companions were talking smack about him in front of him, and Prophet said, "No, this guy loves Allah's messenger," right, and he's the same one who was drinking, and then they locked him up during one of the battles, and then in the end they're like, "Look, I'm never going to lock you up because of how well he performed." He's like, "I swear to God, I'm never going to drink again." Right?
Yeah, but this is in the context of, for example, trustworthiness.
Okay.
Right? Are they trustworthy as far as their witnesses, as far as their narration of events, as far as their narration of hadith?
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
And
okay,
so
okay.
it doesn't mean that they're sinless.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that even that they can't commit
Them
major
back to the
sins.
word. So
Because you have to understand that the trustworthiness of the companions is what the entire religion is.
based off of, but then there's a question of there's classification of companions. Not all companions are at the same level.
But when it comes to this,
Yeah.
they are.
Okay.
In the notion that they are all udul, they're all trustworthy, they're all credible.
Okay, so they're credible in the sense that they will not intentionally try to mislead you through lying.
Yeah, and I mean they're of upright character.
Okay.
That's what it means. They're all of upright character. Upright character does not mean that a person is not susceptible to. Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're infallible.
They'll make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Right, but they're not going
But
to
their
be...
character is not questioned.
I get it. Okay, I gotcha. So they have... Okay, makes sense. So then the question of, can a companion be a fasiq? Answer to that is no.
Correct. So then the question is, why was the verse revealed?
Okay.
Why does Allah use the term fasiq? And the relation, so what happened was there was a Sahabi, Walid ibn Uqba, he was the one who he was sent out to collect zakah money from a tribe
Okay.
who had embraced Islam the previous year. They agreed on a time
Yeah.
when they're supposed to have the Prophet send a messenger to them to collect the money. Now Walid ibn Uqba, he had some issues with this tribe from before.
Personally.
Yeah, some
Okay.
way past issues.
Beef from back
Yeah.
in the day. Okay.
So
Boiling
when
water.
he went,
Yeah.
the tribe had come out to welcome him.
Sure.
And part of the welcoming, sometimes you'll come out and make a
Big show of it.
make a show of it. Yeah, so you might have your weapons, you might have your animals, this kind of things.
Yeah.
So what he's been asked about,
Fireworks and all that good stuff.
for one reason or another, when he came out,
Yeah.
when he was going towards them, news reached him that they're coming out. He freaked out.
Okay.
So he turns around.
Why did you freak out?
He was worried because he thought maybe there's this.
I was like, oh, because he was coming in with the idea that, oh, these guys, right. But thinking that these guys don't like me though.
Yes.
Okay, and now they're all just coming out with these weapons.
Or they might not like the idea of zakat. Like sometimes there were incidences
Right.
where, you know, treachery happened from some tribes.
Yeah.
Right? Where the messengers of the Prophet were killed.
Yeah.
So in some narrations it mentions this, that they had some issues. In other narrations it mentions that they don't mention a reason.
So this companion genuinely was scared for his life.
Yeah.
Okay.
He turns around, he goes back to the Prophet and he tells him that not only have they refused to pay zakat, but they threatened to kill me.
Okay. This is the perception he had.
Yeah, this is why. But he says they refused to pay zakat and that that they threatened to kill me.
Yeah.
So this became a big issue.
Right.
First of all, even non-Muslims honored a messenger.
Right.
You know, so the Prophet
i.e. an ambassador in this case, not messengers and prophet.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, ambassador, somebody who's being sent to deliver like a message to a leader or something like this. So the Prophet receives the news the Sahaba are there. Many of the Sahaba wanted to go out and attack them.
Right.
And so that's where the verse comes in. If you act on that information, and to see you would have harmed people out of ignorance.
Okay.
And you would become very regretful for what you did.
So they're about to declare war on.
So they're about to go out, and then so the Prophet he sent Khalid ibn Walid. In some narrations, he sent him at the head of a group to first confirm. So he goes and he sees that the adhan is being called, the people are praying and whatnot. And he said, "This is not real." In the other narration, it says that Al-Harith, who was the leader of the tribe, he was on his way to the Prophet.
Right.
Because
your dude ran away.
Yeah, because the messenger didn't come. The time came for them to send somebody, but the messenger didn't come.
Okay.
So then he comes to Prophet to find out what happened. And Prophet asked them. He says, "No, nobody came to us." And then they found out that when he didn't, he made up the story
Right.
about what
Or
happened.
he misunderstood.
Or he
what have
misunderstood
you.
So the story that he told was in the context of what he understood.
perceived.
He perceived his life to be in danger, and because of previous beef that he had, and as a result, he was just like, "Yo, these guys are gonna try to kill me, and they're not gonna pay their zakat." And so when he goes back, so yo, these guys refused, and they're not and they didn't pay zakat. But that's coming from the distant perception that he had. Whereas these guys were like, "Yo, this guy never even showed up."
You never shut up.
Okay.
But then the question still remains: well, why was the verse revealed using these terminologies? So there's a couple things that scholars say. First of all, the Ammar you mentioned, as-sahaba kulluhum udul. There's a maxim that we have in our religion that Sahaba, all of them are trustworthy.
Right.
And specifically when it comes to this issue of narrating from the Prophet ﷺ and hadith and whatnot.
Right.
The second thing is that
The real issue is who's after the companion that's narrating. There's where the trustworthy issue
correct.
is. Yeah.
Correct. So then when can a verse be revealed in the time of something that happened, in relation to something that happened, but not necessarily apply to that situation? Also wants to teach the Ummah a lesson
Okay.
at a time when something happens, but the exact terminology that he uses doesn't apply to that exact situation.
Okay.
Right? Allah says, "In ja'akum fasiq," if an evil person comes to you, or opening sinful, lying person comes to you with news, does it necessarily have to apply to Walid ibn Uqba? Doesn't necessarily.
Right.
That's number one. That's number two. Number three, Walid ibn Uqba, we know from him that he was an upright person, and we know nothing from his history before this incident that he did anything that would classify him as a fasiq,
Right.
and nothing after.
Yeah.
And the proof of that is, number one, the Prophet ﷺ chose him to go collect the zakat.
Right.
Anybody
He
who
was the ambassador chosen.
if he was not trustworthy, the Prophet himself wouldn't choose him.
Yeah.
And then Uthman who in his khilafah, he chose Walid to be a governor.
Okay.
So this is years later now,
So
right?
all post-incident and pre-incident
he
is
was
still to
And he
his
was-
credibility.
And it also shows that, look, he made a mistake, but the community, he showed that he was remorseful for it,
Right.
and he had a second chance.
Right.
Uthman gave him the chance to be a governor. So like this whole idea that we have also in our communities of like somebody makes a mistake and they're damned forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is a story of redemption.
Yeah.
He made a mistake. The lives could have been lost.
Yeah. I mean, it's
a
professional mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Career mistake.
Uthman chose him to be a leader. So there's a lot of lessons from this verse. This verse is packed with a lot of things. Your question being one of them that we'll talk about in the class, inshallah. The whole surah is full of.
Yeah.
And what's nice about it is, some ayahs in the Quran, we don't know a reason for revelation.
Right.
Surah Al-Hujurat, almost every verse we have a reason why the verse came down. So there's so much lessons to take from the surah itself.
That's a good conclusion to our program.
Wait, there's one, obviously,
Yeah.
2 glaring issues with Dr. Farhan that people need to be introduced to.
Oh, an issue. Uh-oh.
2 issues.
Kind of scared now, bro.
They're not bad issues. They're just issues people need to be aware of. Number 1 is, he kind of alluded to it earlier. I mean, the guy travels overseas, and the thing that stays with him the most is kittens. And so he has a nickname. He was called Abu Huraira a long time ago. Was it Abu Huraira or was it Abu Hir or what was it? Abu Huraira. And he actually does something that I never thought of doing, but now that I learned that he does it, I think it should be generally done by everybody. And that is, when he travels to Umrah, he actually carries cat food with him.
No.
From the U.S.
No.
So that when he meets these kids in Medina,
I
these
feel
cats
like you
in
look
Mecca
at me
and
now.
Medina,
It's like, come on now.
because I can't tell you how many times, honestly, I've just been walking down the streets and you see these skinny cats, and I mean, mashallah,
They got high metabolisms, bro. They got high protein
it's
diet.
called starvation, brother. It's called spending all day scavenging and not finding anything.
One thing I learned though, by the way, on that note, is I do take treats, but
Are they treats or is it food?
it's treats.
It's like, that's luggage space I could go use for something useful.
But one time I stopped. I was going to Palestine.
Uh-huh.
No, I wasn't going to Palestine. We're going to Umrah.
Yeah.
We're going to Umrah, and we stopped in Jordan. And so we had a long stay, so they took me to the hotel.
Yeah.
So then I was at the hotel, and there's a cat there. So I bust out the treats, and the cat was just like, "I don't need this." You know, where's my like gourmet salmon at? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what?
I need my meat, bro.
But in Saudiya, yeah, the cat and Palestine, the cats were super thin. But one thing I did and started doing in Palestine and Saudiya, yeah, they eat the treats. But one thing that is very unfortunate, but the reality is we waste so much food.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Like
that.
in our buffets in the hotels,
Yeah, there's
there's
so
so
much
much food being wasted. So what I started doing was I would just take a bag.
No, I was thinking they waste the food. The cats would go to the dumpster alley and be like, yo, dinner time.
Yeah, I mean, you see them in dumpsters and stuff, but they're all, like you said, scrawny. So, but I'll just take a bag and off people's plates that they leave. They just get up and leave. And there's just like, I mean, just pounds and pounds of meat, you know, kofta and chicken, this, that. I'll just throw it in the bag and then I use that to feed them. And that's the like.
So they do get the 5-star gourmet.
They get it.
So now you don't have to carry those treats with you. You just, you just get a.
I still take it. I get a little bit of both.
Oh.
Okay. So that's number 1. And number 2, he's unfortunately a Detroit Pistons fan.
I am.
Their team name, I get it, it's basketball, but their team name that is representative of the city.
Yeah, Pistons.
Right. Yeah.
What the heck is Houston Texans?
Well, that's football, first of all.
I know, it's a football, but
That's
like,
football.
we've got the Houston Rockets, we've got the Houston Astronauts, right? Houston Texas?
Actually, because they're in Texas.
It's like Detroit,
No,
Michigan.
but that's like saying we're like the Jersey City Jerseys, or the
Jerseyan.
Jerseys or whatever, or like the Detroit Michigan Landers.
Let's not even start on. There is pride in this country, the United States, right? And then there's something called Texan pride.
Yeah.
Like they barely fly the American flag here.
It's all in the Texas flag.
It's all about the Texan flag. Like everywhere else, like I don't know what the New York flag looks like, to be honest. Do you know what the
Nobody
Michigan
knows
flag
what
looks
their
like?
state flag looks like.
Look at the Jersey flag.
I know what it looks like, but I just nobody knows.
I don't know it. I've never seen it. Like you, maybe government buildings, but nobody ever flies it nowhere. But here in Texas, it's all about that Lone Star flag.
It's funny though, because the Lone Star flag looks very similar to the Puerto Rican flag, but Puerto Rican's got the triangle, which is very similar to the Cuban flag, which has also got that triangle.
So it's got a little bit of that feel, huh?
Tejano.
MashaAllah,
That
mashallah.
Tejano flavor. Some people say it's Captain America 1.0 uniform because you turn it sideways.
Nobody says that.
Look it up.
When Bilal says some people say that means I say it.
No, Instagram says it. All right, Instagram.
On that note, guys,
Find it on the gram.
once my man starts speaking in Spanish, that means it's time for us to log off.
I agree.
Dr. Farhan, always a pleasure seeing you, my man. Safe travels back to Detroit tonight and safe Dallas.
Yeah.
And if you're going to head over to Dallas, you might as well just finish the trip. Yeah, just go to Detroit. All right, my man. Jazakumullah khair. How do we sign off on this?
Well, basically, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, y'all are awesome. Notification Squad, leave us a comment below if you haven't done so already.
Subscribe right here. The button's going to appear
Not
right here.
The button over there on my
Button's right here.
The button's already somewhere. It depends on what you're using. If you're using multiple platforms, probably down here somewhere. But anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell icon, and leave a comment. Hit that like button to let us know that you liked the video. and we'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.